Hero Tug.
Hey.
Ys
Mm-hmm.
is this weird JRPG series that has been around since longer than I've been alive, which I did not realize it's been around since like
Yeah.
87. Like in my mind, it was like mid-90s.
Yeah, like Ys 1 and 2 is like on like PC Engine or something like really strange.
It's
like
some weird, obscure thing, and it's just
not on normal consoles.
somewhere or another. I managed my entire life. I played one of them on Vita. I don't even remember which one. I played like 2 hours and I was like, that's fine, okay, whatever, I don't get it.
Yeah, you didn't like Oath and Felghana, which is insanity because that game's effing amazing.
But anyway, this is a series I literally knew nothing about and just decided, you know what, I've heard really good things about 8, had access to it, and was like, you know what, jumping in. Let's see how this goes.
That's so funny because I played like...
I love Ys VIII.
I played like 5 of these games, and I played a few minutes. I played the opening of Ys VIII, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck Brad's talking about.
It is one of those games where it's like, as I'm playing it, I think I've talked about this before. I have games that I absolutely love in the moment when I'm playing them, and games that I absolutely love when I'm done with them.
Sure.
And I think this one was one of those where it was just, as I was going, I was just having so much fun. I was like, this is so great, this is so great, this is so great.
Yeah.
And then kind of when you're done, you kind of look back and you're like, I don't think it was quite that great, but damn did I have fun when I was playing it.
The Resident Evil 8 syndrome is how I feel.
Yeah, I think that's where we first talked about this, where it was like the first time you played through Resident Evil 8, like as you're going, like, this is so good, this is so good, and then then like 6 months later, you're thinking back, kind of going like, but was it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I could very much see myself like 6 months from now going like, I don't remember anything about Ys VIII.
Yeah.
I really liked it though. I don't remember why. But
so why do you like it now?
As I was playing this, it was just one of those that hit me where it's like, this is fun. Like, this is just simple, bare bones, nothing fancy, fun. And everything works together really well. Everything's great. So again, if you're a huge fan of the series, forgive my probably bad takes and things that have been around since the 80s that I'm just now learning of. For one example, the story. I was like, this is a really cool intro. Like, you're on a boat and you crash land on this deserted island. This is such a cool hook to start this thing out. And I texted you that and you're like, yeah, that's literally every Ys game.
Yeah.
Which, again, my lack of knowledge, I had no idea. But so it starts with a shipwreck. You're on this island. I thought it was a really cool hook because the first maybe 5 or 6 hours is literally just you running around the island, finding more people from the ship that was there, because this island that you're on is deserted. It's mysterious. Nobody ever goes there. Nobody really knows what's up with it. And you just got to go find these people. And as you find them, you build a village. And it's just a really cool way to start a JRPG that's not with, like, you're the chosen hero, or it's the first day you're leaving your town, or, like, you know, your stereotypical hooks.
Yeah, it's fun with the Ys series just in general. Usually it's just, I think his name's Adol, the red hair guys. He just kind of like shows up and then like, what's going on, guys? And then like, oh well, this is what's happening. It's usually, he's never really, like you said, he's never quite the hero. He's just kind of a guy that showed up in whatever situation is happening, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. And everybody kind of gives him shit. So like, what do you do? I'm just an adventurer. And just throughout the game, like, he just, like, every time you're meeting somebody, like, oh, I'm a tailor. Like, I'll set up a tailor shop in the village. Just like, what do you do? He's like, I'm an adventurer. Like, that's not a job.
That's great.
It happens like 7 or 8 times, and every time it's just like, oh yeah, I'm a blacksmith. My father was a blacksmith. What do you? Just wandering. But it's one of those things where the story has really, really cool hooks. It is a little dry though, and I think I didn't even like realize it until like you told me. Like, I played like a couple hours, nothing happened, and I was kind of thinking back, and I was like, yeah, nothing really did happen. You're right.
Yeah, that's the Ys story as well. That's also a staple of the Ys series, is their stories are dry.
There's
and the
lots
combat
of cool...
is good.
Yeah, we'll get to combat in a second, but there's lots of good little things. Like, again, having not played it, that shipwreck hook was really good. The finding people hook was really good. As you go through and you explore this deserted island, you find notes from pirates who may have been there. That's really interesting, and that kind of plays into building up to something towards the end. About a third of the way through, you find this big, huge city of like ancient deserted ruins, and then that leads into a lot of things for the second half or last 2/3 of the game. Dinosaurs are there. There's dinosaurs on this island. That's crazy. That's cool. And it does a lot of those cool little things where it's just like, here's a cool hook. Let's play with it for an hour or two. Is any of it super crazy engaging and like the greatest? No, but it's got a lot of these nice little kind of sectioned off chunks of pieces that are interesting in and of themselves that I found really, really engaging. And again, the story, everything kind of pulls together really well. The combat, the story, the town, the characters, everything really comes together well in this game.
Is it just like everything's like pretty good? Like nothing's fantastic, but like everything's pretty good. Like the whole game is kind of elevated as like pretty goodness. It just never really goes beyond that.
Pretty good is the bare minimum.
Oh, okay.
Like nothing is worse than pretty good.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Combat, again, we'll get to that in a second, is amazing and
sure.
Just incredible. But again, the story, the characters, even Adol is basically silent protagonist. You get some dialogue choices here or there. And if I were to tell you to name the generic characters in a JRPG party, you would name the people in this. You have father figure. You have royal lady who is now with the commoners. You have kid raised in the wilderness. You have mysterious gunslinger. So it's like if you were to name your generic JRPG characters, they're there. They're interesting and personable, and there's some fun back and forth, but they're JRPG characters through and through, and that is what it is. The other piece with this is there's some weird time travel stuff that it gets into, because again, about a third of the way when you find these ruins, all of a sudden you go back into these ruins and you play sections from this time before in these ruins as they're an active community and people are engaged there. And again, that pays off as you go through the story, and it's got some really super interesting things with that. Up until that point, Adol's having these weird dreams and these weird visions that you are in like the ancient scroll type thing, so you don't actually see anything until you kind of actually get in there. So it does some really cool things with that too, and it's just it's interesting. It's just it is what it is.
Well, I guess the thing is, because sometimes I have this with certain games, like there's a certain genres that I'll really like, and when they're playing into the tropes, there's just something kind of homey and fun about that.
Yeah.
While somebody else who maybe doesn't like the genre, they're like, this is just a generic ass game. It's like, but yeah, exactly. Like I enjoy. I was trying to think like what there's something very specifically. Yeah, exactly. And like people have like different tolerances or different tastes, because it's funny because you said it's like it's this generic JRPG party, but it's like I could tell you seem like but you seem to like that they were kind of a generic JRPG party. You're like,
I enjoyed them,
yeah, exactly. It's funny. It was just funny. I just noticed that it just seems like this is a game that if you like JRPGs, although actually I think the combat is like not really typical JRPG at all. I think it's got a lot of JRPG trappings, but the Ys series in general is not a turn-based game, not even close.
No, it's not. It is very action combat. I think when you think action combat in a JRPG, you go to Tales. This is a step even further past Tales. So you've got your traditional menu. You've got Tales, which is this weird like hybrid where it's like, okay, we're going to try and give you some freedom. And Tales starts to get more into an action game. It's very much an action RPG as you're playing it. The gameplay is it's so much fun. It's one of those things where you could button mash your way through this thing and be very happy, no real details, but then you can also get really deep into it. It has counters, parries, guards, all of these things that you can do as you're fighting.
Do you swap characters? Because that was a big thing I know in the Ys series is like there's weakness. Okay, so are you swapping like in the middle of a combo, or are you swapping, or how does that work?
You normally have to finish your combo with the character before you swap. Each one has weaknesses, so again, there's 3 different types of damage, and those damages obviously counter off with with each other, kind of a triangle-esque thing from Fire Emblem. But for most of the time, I just kind of picked a character and stuck with them. But there were certain points where you kind of go, okay, like I can do this with this character, or I can do it real fast with this character, because again, I mean, you've got breaks just like you have in Final Fantasy where you'll knock them down and all that stuff. Again, the combat is super detailed. There's a lot to it. You get perfect guards. Every hit after that for like 3 seconds is a critical hit. You do a perfect dodge. You slow down time for 3 seconds. So again, it has all these things that you could go a long way without doing them. But when you're doing them, it's more rewarding. You can really get through it, and you really feel like you've got a really good handle on the system.
Is it kind of like if as you get more adept at the system, the battles are over faster and like you're just doing it better? Because I think that was the interesting thing they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake is that you could get through any battle, but if you really got in depth with the system, you could really like fly through the battles, like really just decimate a character if you were good.
Yeah, there were a couple of points that have. I always go to Hell House from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes, exactly.
Where you're like, you can stamina your way through this, and it can take you 45 minutes, and you can beat the hell out of that house. Yeah. But if you set your materia right and you do everything right, 5 minutes we're in and out, we're cool. This has a lot of that with especially with the bosses, where you'll kind of start playing with one, and then you go, okay, I'm not doing much damage. You'll switch to the other one now. Oh, okay, now all of a sudden I'm doing my damage. I'm doing what I need to do as you go through here. Kind of going along with combat, the game does a lot of quick moving through things. So you get skills as you level up. Those come at a perfect pace, where it's like every maybe 3 or 4 fights you're getting a new skill for at least one of your characters.
Nice.
Your characters you have in your active party level up. Your reserve characters level up, so you'll get a new skill with a reserve character. Okay, well, let's pop them in and see what it is. And because you end up 5 or 6 characters here and there, some go in and out, you end up with a lot of, okay, this character got a skill, put him in. Okay, tried that, go back to my main party. Okay, this party got a skill, put him in. And it's just kind of fun to play around with those, and it keeps evolving combat because, of course, as you go, those skills get bigger and bigger and do different things. AoEs, specific targeting things, all that stuff is there, and it feels so good. It's so fun. It's one of the few games where it was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back and walk here because I'll fight some monsters on the way. It'll be fun.
It felt really snappy. It felt super responsive when I was playing it, which is like, especially for JRPGs, is like, that's not really even like Kingdom Hearts, I wouldn't call the most responsive, but this was like real. You hit the button, it goes, it snaps.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, in terms of responsiveness, I mean, it's up there with your stylish action games, your Devil May Cry, your Bayonettas. I mean, it is that responsive. Your dodges are that timed, your blocks are that timed. Everything fits like that, but it's in this JRPG mold, and I think that's where that combat almost gets overlooked. You're like, okay, JRPG, what's my story? Who are my characters? What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm just going to go down and it's like magic, fireball, go. Like, and it's not that at all. It's so fun. It's so unique to it because it does this weird blend of different things. It's just, I really did love this game, and it's a game that, again, I think I kind of was just like, it's been sitting there for a while. I was like, well, I'll give it its couple hours, and we'll move on so I can cross it off the list of, yes, I've tried an Ys game, and it really hooked me. It was a ton of fun. I ran through it, and it does things in a way that I think if you like JRPGs, it is going to make you happy.
Are you now like into Ys? Like, because I know 9 came out fairly recently. It's got also another weird subtitle, and I think they just announced 10. Are you like, yeah, more Ys? Are you like gonna take a break for a while? Okay.
I literally was like, I got 9 and I have it sitting there, and it's like, I don't want to overdo this.
Oh, you actually have 9? Is it part of the PS Plus stuff, or is it?
It's on the PS Plus stuff, yeah. So It's still there too. So I have it. So I mean, have it quotes. Yeah. But it's one of those where it's like sitting there on my like PlayStation bar, the dash bar, just sitting there. I'm like, it's only been like 3 days since I finished 8. Like, it's too soon. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna hit the same if I just roll right into it. I gotta give it some time to breathe. So, Ys 9 review coming up. At some point.
Yeah, great.
But anyway, we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us wherever you're listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.